Salute and good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorillas in the building. Hitting y'all upside the head with this morning paper. Salute to the people out there. Salute to Black Spring with Autumn. Always supporting, always coming through. Always dropping the link to my book on Amazon, y'all. Salute to Real Eyes in the building. Yeshua's return is up in here. Great Black. Salute to everybody that came through and that is here and that is hitting that like button. Make sure y'all are loving on the like button, as the Queen Black Spring would say. Make sure y'all love on that like button, man. You know what I'm saying? We got a real conversation to have. We got a real talk to. We got a real situation to discuss. Because it's important to understand our place in the world as Americans, right? In general, as citizens of the United States. Because how we are viewed by the world is determined by the actions of our so-called leaders, our government, right? And you might think, well, that's not fair, right? You think it's not fair because, well, we're not telling Donald Trump to do this and that. We're not telling Pete Hegseth to do this and Marco Rubio to do that. We're not. Hey, they're doing whatever they want. What responsibility do we have? Why are we looked at as the bad guys, right? As a whole, it's important to understand that it's important to understand the cognitive dissonance that blinds us from our responsibilities, that blinds us from how we allow these things to happen. Let me explain. In the Declaration of Independence, you guys remember that? It talks about consent of the governed. It talks about consent of the governed. And that's a very important phrase, right? That's a very important thing that to have knowledge of. Because the so-called forefathers, they understood what that meant. They understood that. Now, we might want to go out and vote. We think we did something, right? We did our thing. We did our civic duty. We went out and voted. And the results of the elections brought us the leader that we have. And if you didn't vote for Donald Trump, you're thinking, hey, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's the Republicans. Talk to the MAGA people. The MAGA did that. The MAGA put Donald Trump in place. All this, that, and the third. But what you fail to realize is that you gave your consent to be governed by Donald Trump when you went out and voted, period. Whether you voted for him or not. Right? That's just the point blank reality of it. If you vote, you are putting these people in the positions they are in, not simply because you have acquiesced and given in when you vote. You have done that. You said, you know what? I trust this system. I trust that when I vote and we go through this election process, that the government and all these government officials will act on my behalf for the betterment of me. That's what you have done when you have when you went to vote, when you went out to vote, that's what you said. You said, I'm placing my faith and trust in government 100%. Right? That's what you have done. So when your government goes out here, they drop bombs on people, they try to take over countries, they try to buy countries, they threaten nations with tariffs and and all that type of shit. When you don't get on board with their agenda, well, you can't separate yourself from that. You have to take responsibility, whether you voted for Donald Trump or not. Period. We have to be real about the power we give over to government. It's called a transfer of power. What does a transfer of power mean? It doesn't just happen when an outgoing president transfers power to the incoming president. It doesn't just happen when a congressman gives up their seat for another congressman. No. We transfer our power to government when we vote. That's one way we transfer power. We also transfer power to government when we pay taxes, right? When we follow their laws, when we submit to their law enforcers. Yeah, this is what we're doing. When we participate in society in the way they want us to participate, in the way they lay it out and line it out, we are saying to them, go ahead and do what you do, pimpin'. I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to, if I have a problem with what you're doing, I'm going to complain about it. But at the end of the day, we're feeding into the system. So as much as we'd like to blame Donald Trump, the MAGA people, as long as the Republicans or the Democrats, well, what are we doing? Well, we are talking about, in the next election, we're going to replace your ass. Oh, yeah, we're going to primary you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to turn the tides in midterms elections. It's all about the midterms. Well, when do the midterms happen? When do the midterms happen? When we have elections this year, right? And they take power next year. So we're just going to wait. We're going to follow the cycle in the routine they have laid out for us to follow to try to make positive change. That's what we're going to do, right? Let's just do that. We'll just make Donald Trump the lame duck president for the last 2 years. And you think that's progress? Salute to the Queen Sister Cameron in the building. Salute to the beautiful Queen Sister Cameron and my brother Insane Truth. Cali love my brother. Please exercise your right to vote in all elections. See, there's a guy that wants to keep you in this cycle, right? Vote your problems away. Yeah, because we know it works out every time. Every time we go out and vote, we replace this dictator with that dictator, and it works out great, doesn't it? Yeah. It works out perfectly. Yeah, let's just vote our way through life and just wait for politicians to take care of us and do the right thing by us. Sure. Well, where are the elections for the lobbyists? Do we get to make those is that a thing? Can we vote lobbyists out of Congress? Can we do that? Can we vote corporations out of politics? How is that working out for us? Yeah. How's that working out? When the same corporations and PACs, they influence our politicians and they get what they want done with. No, our vote doesn't affect their activity, does it? Go out and vote in all the elections. Yes, because that has solved our problems, hasn't it? Right? Then you got those people that tell you, if you don't like it, leave the country, because they're fucking lazy. Right? That's a lazy mentality. That's the defeatist mentality. Well, there's no way to evolve. There is no evolution within this realm. There is no evolution within society. There's no way we can improve. So we should just leave, right? Why not? These are tactics that we want to use when we're too lazy and too comfortable to put ourselves in a position where freedom, we get into a position of freedom. We strive towards freedom. We strive towards individuality, right? Autonomy, sovereignty. We strive for that. That's a dangerous thing. No one wants to think about that. No one wants to consider that. So what you have is you got Donald Trump trying to take Greenland under the auspices of protecting us from China and Russia in the Arctic. That we want to position ourselves. Even though both Greenland and Denmark said that we could put bases in Greenland, we have no problem. You guys can come to Greenland, you can put bases here and there, you can do this and do that. Yeah. The same thing Maduro said. Yeah, you guys can come up and through here, rebuild. You guys think we run shitty oil. We have a shitty oil program. Well, you guys can come on over here and help us improve it, and we'll get more oil out, and you guys can reap the rewards. Not good enough. You got to completely take over the country, and you got the MAGTARDs who come through. Oh yeah, this is what I voted for. Yeah, I voted for this, knowing good and goddamn well you did. So now our NATO partners are considering the United States to be the largest threat to Europe because Donald Trump got a wild hair up his ass and thinks that he can just take whatever country he wants to take. Meanwhile, we got this thing going on in Iran, right, where they're telling us, oh yeah, they're burning people alive. The Iranian government, they're burning people alive. They're killing, they're shooting into crowds and all these different things. And well, Donald Trump's like, hey, you guys keep fighting a good fight. That's what he's telling the people of Iran, right? Yeah, you keep fighting a good fight. At first it was about, well, let's go ahead and save the Iranian people from the Iranian government. Right? Because last year it was about the nuclear program. Now it's about them killing their own people. First it was about weapons of mass destruction. Then it's about the dictator killing their own people. That's how it always goes, right? Well, Donald Trump and our government, our elite, the elite class that run Donald Trump and run this government, right? Of course, by proxy. Yeah, they're not interested in Iran right now. They want to do this Greenland thing. For whatever reason, they had they're dead set on Greenland. And they're dead set on presenting themselves as the greatest threat to European nations, right? Well, what's the end goal there? You support dictators. Got it. No, I don't. You have no idea. See, this is you're new to this channel. Yeah, you're new to this channel because I'm an anarchist. So, yeah, I don't support any dictator. But what I also don't support is our government acting on our behalf to overthrow other countries as though they're trying to do something altruistic for the people of that country, lying and stealing and cheating, and putting us at risk, taking our money and putting it into these endeavors, right? Why is it important? An anarchist, that's not a real position. It's the realest position. What are you talking about? An anarchist, that's not a real position. Do you know what do y'all read before y'all, what are y'all doing? You have many wise words, my friend. I appreciate you, Joe. No one is truly an anarchist as everyone follows the moral laws within themselves. Do y'all even know what anarchy is? Do you know what that means? Okay, you thumbsing down. Okay, congratulations. You gave a thumbs down. You have no idea what anarchy means. It means no rulers. That's what that means. You don't have to announce your departure if that's what you're doing, DGL. Is that what you're doing? Salute to X-Sir Carnage. Anarchy simply means no rulers. That means no rulers. What are you talking about? What's that? What does that mean? That means no one. That means having sovereignty over your own being and being self-sufficient, self-reliant, not needing someone to tell you what to do. That's what that means. What are you talking about? It's not you need, because everyone practices and exercises anarchy every day. Right? No one tells you when you can get up in the morning and brush your teeth. You make that decision. Right? So we do, every individual exercises anarchy every single day if you're not imprisoned. If you're not in prison and they tell you when to get up, when to shower, when to, right? If you are, you exercise anarchy every day. Yeah. When you decide when to brush your teeth, what you brush your teeth with, what you have for breakfast. No one tells you what to have for breakfast and what to, you make that decision on your own. That's anarchy. What are you talking about? You have no idea what anarchy means. You are against, yes, you're against the rules. What rules? Man-made rules? What type of rules are you talking about? Because see, there's the golden rule, right, where it's very simple, right? That means that you cause no harm to others as you would not want caused to you, right? Yeah, mind your own goddamn business. That's what anarchy means. Mind your own goddamn business and do as you please, as long as you're not harming other people and violating other people's rights. Yeah, simple as that. That's what anarchy means. What are you guys talking about? Someone said anarchy in Minnesota. That is the opposite of anarchy, right? That's the opposite of anarchy. That's not anarchy. Y'all have no idea what you're talking about. Because you practice anarchy. See, people are very resistant when you talk about anarchy, because they don't believe that you can have that. Oh, that's a pipe dream. There's no way. Ain't no way you can have anarchy. It doesn't work. It never worked in society. It never worked before. Oh, there's no. Name a country. Name a country with anarchy. Name it. Well, just because there isn't anarchy at a large scale does not mean that it's possible. It is impossible. Because see, back in the day, before civilization, before industrialization, before travel, right? Before all that shit, people existed in anarchy, right? Essentially. And you had tribes of human beings. It was a lot more dangerous though. There was a lot more dangerous times where, you're out there in the wilderness and you have to fight for survival every day. And you're not governed by rulers. You're governed by nature. You're governed by your ability to fight and survive in your environment. And so humans, being naturally social beings, they work together as families and as tribes, right? They moved as units throughout the world, right? But there were no rulers. There was no guy on high telling you what you can and can't do and making you pay taxes and all this other bullshit, dragging you in. No, what you did was you acted, and you were nature. Human beings not only existed in nature, they were nature. They were part of the natural environment. And so there wasn't even a concept of government, right? It wasn't conceptualized back then. In this rawest form, humanity was only dictated by their environment, how they moved, how they behaved, how they acted. what they did on a daily basis. It was governed by nature, not by man. So when you think about it, you are governed by your own natural biology. You're governed by nature, things outside of your control, right? And that was it. But it wasn't government. It wasn't authority. That's a whole different thing. But man-made authority, man-made government to try to control large groups of people, that is where the real problem comes in, right? It's this desire to control. It's a desire it's this desire to control people. It's this desire to control resources and have access to everything. Oh, I gotta have this, I gotta have that. I gotta dictate what you can and cannot have and how much you gotta give me from what you earn. Well, okay, why am I giving these motherfuckers in Washington, D.C. money when they have nothing to do with how I survive, how I live my life? Did they give me the job? Why am I giving taxes to these people? Did they pay me? Did they get me the job that I got? Did they pay me when I was unemployed from money that I didn't already put into the system in the first place? No. So what am I giving them money for? Oh, the roads and the bridges and the bullshit. That's a whole nother story. Now, this whole thing about Greenland, Venezuela, and all this other shit pushing against, trying to get Europe in line so they can fall in place. That's really what this is about, right? This is what these terrorists, all these different things that they're doing to obtain Greenland, is all about control. It's all about dictating. Look, we are the big dogs in the house, right? NATO, yes, we are NATO. We are part of NATO, but we want to run NATO. We want NATO to run through us. Right? That's what this is about. It means no form of government. No, it means no authority. That's what it means. Because, like I said, if you're not governed by man, you're governed by nature, period. You can't do what you want in nature without being bound by the laws of nature. Do you get what I'm saying? So even then you're being governed. But people like to be pedantic, right? When you try to explain what anarchy is, it means no government, it means no authority, not government. Somebody says, what a joke, yet you're here listening to me. Well, thank you, Audrey. I appreciate you. It's not libertarian at all. No, I don't mean Chad. No, I don't mean Chad at all. Because even in Chad, they had some guy trying to be a dictator. That's not anarchy. Y'all don't know what it is. Anarchy means no authority outside of what is dictated by nature. Somebody to trump the derangement syndrome. So free will is now anarchy. No. Free will, the ability to exercise free will without some authoritative or authority figure telling you how to exercise free will, is anarchy, right? 100%. But this whole thing, yeah, I'm wearing a seatbelt for my safety because I believe that if I get in a car crash, the seatbelt will save my life. What are you talking about? Oh, if you wear a seatbelt, then you ain't an anarchist. I don't wear a seatbelt because it's law. I wear a seatbelt because it's practical to wear a seatbelt. What This is the see y'all hate what's with that freedom hate? Y'all hate the idea of freedom and okay, well, what can we do without government? I need government. Oh my God. You guys want to put government in a spoon and in a piece of cotton, and you want to take a syringe, you want to draw in all the government and inject it in your fucking veins. It's like you have your synapses don't fire if you talk about what actual freedom is. Here, the definition of state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. No. You guys, what order has government brought? Government brings order? Let me ask y'all a question. You anarchy haters always talking about how anarchy doesn't work. Oh, well, where is there anarchy? Oh, well, what country is there anarchy and all this other shit? Well, when has governments worked? When show me a government in the world that works. You can't tell me when. Just because governments have ruled over people does not mean that it's working. That does not mean that it's good for society and good for the planet. Because governments have been able to maintain power does not mean that it is sufficient. Tell me, you get what that means? Right. You can't. So, if Europe considers us to be their greatest threat, they're not going to isolate Donald Trump and Donald Trump's cabinet from that. They're going to make all of us the threat, right? Because this is how it works, right? Because Donald Trump, what is he governed by, right? Let me ask y'all a question. The government, the people, the elite class that run government, who governs them? You think they follow the same rules and obey the same laws as we do? Anarchy can only work until someone takes power. Just like government can only work until someone tries to bring anarchy. It's the same thing. Even with the strictest and most powerful government, the most voracious government, every government in history has always had uprisings of people that wanted freedom from that government. That's how it's going to work with anarchy. So y'all want it to be a perfect system. There is no perfect system. I'm not describing libertarianism. No, I'm not. Libertarians believe in minimal government. They still believe in government. Those in power can only hold power until someone tries to obtain anarchy and freedom. There will always be that. You can have the most powerful government in the world with all the firepower and all the things. You can have a demolition man society. Demolition man, where everybody is falling in line. So you think. There will always be resistance to government. And that resistance will always disrupt what the government is trying to achieve. Just like if you have a system of anarchy, there will always be someone who's power hungry that's going to try to rise up and control a bunch of people and disrupt the system of anarchy that's in place. That doesn't mean that it does not need to be exercised. Right? That just means that you got to fight for it. Right? Just like the government fights resistors, right? When they see resistance, when they see that, oh, look, we got some freedom fighters over there. We're going to label them as terrorists, and we're going to go and kill them. Or we're going to lock them up. And the human who wants power will get it. Not if the people that want their freedom kill their ass. How about that? See, you gotta be kill them or ostracize them or get them the hell out of there. Yeah. The human who wants freedom will get it. Salute to you, DGL, DG Latina. Ariel Luna Campbell says, can a stateless society have a state? That's my question every time when people say what countries practice it. People who don't know the history of Mancanovia or Catalonia in the Spanish Civil War. Well, what's a state, right? Because states on a map are drawn by imaginary lines that don't exist in the real world, right? They know where the borders are, and they put up signs and say, welcome to this state. But when you talk about a state, you're talking about a state of being. There are many different definitions of the word state. There are multiple, I won't say many. There are multiple definitions of the word state. Now, can a stateless society have a state? Yes. Right? Whatever they want that to be. Right? So, like I said, people are naturally social beings. You know, and then in these, let's say you have a tribe or a village of people, you might have a leader. Someone might choose a leader amongst those people to help guide them. You know, somebody that has demonstrated that they are very resourceful. They make good decisions. They make good decisions on the fly. They're visionary. You know, they can see multiple steps ahead, but they have no desire to control the people in their purview. They guide them. That is a more effective figurehead, so to speak, than a dictator, right? Dictators have no vision. See, there's a difference between a dictator and a ruler. And a leader. A leader can lead a group of people, and still that group or that tribe or that village can exist in anarchy. But it's voluntary, right? The system they operate is 100% voluntary, and they work together for the betterment of the community. You can have that in anarchy, right? Now, why is the leader important? Because the leader will, if someone comes across their village or tribe, that leader can rally the people against the threat, right? So that they can fight for their freedom, right? They can fight for their resources. They can fight for what they have, right? But when you have something like what happens in Greenland, you got to understand, why the hell are you driving it on the chat? I'm not driving you, dumbass. But you're stupid. I'm not driving. The fuck are you talking about? Y'all got to be smarter than that. Salute the flying guillotine. Kevin O'Neill says government equals control. Mint means mind. Yes. Salute to Realize in the building. So think about it. What you got in Greenland and why they're so vulnerable is because they have no standing army. Now, they are a protectorate of Denmark. They rely on Denmark and NATO nations to protect them from any threat, right? So this is what makes Greenland appear to be vulnerable to someone like the controllers and the puppet masters of Donald Trump, who want him to take Greenland for whatever reason, right? Really, it's just for more land and more resources. So Greenland, they're very vulnerable. And Denmark, their military can't stand up to ours, so they would need NATO, right? NATO would need to step in. And that's why Europe is saying that that we are now the greatest threat, because I mean, we would be. We're more of a threat to them than Russia and China. China's not threatening to take over Greenland. Russia's not threatening to take over Greenland and try to take over European nations, except for the Ukraine, right? That's what Russia did. For whatever belief they have about whether or not Ukraine is part of the Soviet Union and all this other shit. Greenland balsamic vignette says, Greenland geopolitical. When America speaks up, the EU should listen. Good, we should be a threat to NATO. Yeah. We are so short-sighted, many of us. Y'all think, oh, we ran up and through Venezuela. We kidnapped their leader successfully. So we think we can just do whatever we want anywhere. Well, I'll tell you this right now. Venezuela is still being governed by Maduro's government, by Maduro's cabinet. Salute to Mahari Nation. Salute to my brother Mahari. Guess who gives them orders? Not Trump. You think the U.S. is running Venezuela right now? Absolutely not. Where is Venezuela cooked? In what regard? Yeah. You think Delcy Rodriguez? You think she's stupid? Is that what you're saying? Yet she still holds power of Venezuela. How stupid is that? Venezuela has nasty, dirty oil. That's why you make refineries. That's why you have refineries. What are we talking about? Donald Trump told you himself that they want to get the oil. What are you talking about? They are seizing oil tankers off the coast of Venezuela. Yet, what is nonsense about? Oh, Venezuela got dirty oil. Venezuela could end up like Libya. I don't think so. I think that's what they wanted, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah, it's still the same regime in Venezuela. So what did we accomplish? What's truly frightening is how many people in your chat defend Trump, bro. Well, we have to start looking at it for what it really is. It's not Trump. Trump is just a figurehead, right? Trump is acting on behalf of the corporations and the banks, the same corporations and banks and special interest groups and PACs that would run Obama, that ran Joe Biden, George Bush. They all work for the same people. They all work on the behalf of the same entities. We have to get past this whole, this president's to blame, that administration's to blame. No. This government does not operate like that. There's a reason they call the lobby the fourth branch of the government, and the media the fifth branch of government. There's a reason for that. There is no balance of power amongst the three official branches, right? There really isn't. Well, yeah, it's like an oligarchy. Exactly. No president has any true power at all. They are dictated to by the corporations. We talking about proof it. Proof it? No. This should be common knowledge. I should not have to prove common knowledge. I shouldn't. Marion Adelson gave Donald Trump $200 million. Who is Marian Adelson? She is a Omega 5 Zionist. You know what Omega 5 is? An Omega level? Omega 5. She is an Omega level Zionist. If you guys are familiar with X-Men, you know what that means, right? X-Men, the comics, you know, you had the different levels of mutants. They had certain levels of powers. Magneto was an Omega level mutant. Professor X was an Omega level mutant. Well, Marian Adelson is an Omega level Zionist. Yeah. Follow the money and key bono. It is not just about money, it's about power and influence. When you leave government office, what's your next step? Your family, right? You all that shit gets worked out. It's not just about donations in the lobby. No, it's about when you leave government office, how set up for life are you going to be? You ain't got to worry about nothing because they're going to take care of you. They're going to put you on a board of they're going to put you on some type of board and they're going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or millions of dollars a year and you ain't got to do shit. That's how they do it. And they do that for your children too. Right? They'll put you on a board of an NGO. Right? The World Economic Forum or goddamn all these different NGOs that are ran by Klaus Schwab and George Soros and all those individuals. You're set for life. It's not just about the $80,000 donation here, the $30,000 donation there. Yes. So this is not Donald Trump's actions. These are the actions that he is performing on the behalf of these NGOs, of these corporations, of the banks, defense contractors. Big Oil told him to go screw himself. So now guess what? They didn't tell him to go screw himself permanently. No, they do want to go in Venezuela and get some shit cracking, but they want us to fit the bill first. They want us to invest first. Then they'll go in when it's easy breezy, when they don't have to worry about guerrilla warfare and all this other shit. Then they'll go in there and then the big oil companies will start to run the oil refineries and start making all the profit, right? And the politicians will get their kickbacks. And what do we get? A few cents per gallon less in gas. And maybe a little drop in food prices. That's how we that's how we benefit. Salute to Victoria. She said, show them love and smash the thumbs up. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. How can we as the people of America change all that? Well, there's a very strategic way to do it. And it's not by protesting. No. Protesting, what are we protesting? We're protesting for the government to stop committing the tyranny they love to commit. Why? No. What we got to do is we got to get into a position where we're self-sufficient, self-reliant, where we can decouple, right? Where we get to the position where we need the government as we don't need government at all. Become self-sufficient, self-reliant, get some land, build on that land, understand how to get your resources, build, be self-sufficient, get into regenerative farming, get in a position where once you start to rise up and start to resist and they try to cut your ass off, you ain't got to worry about it because you're good right where you're at. Okay, yeah, you cut that off, cut this off. Now, when they come try to take your land through eminent domain, and let's say you stop paying property taxes, this has to happen on a grand scale. A grander scale is possible. Stop participating in the system. Withdraw from the system as much as possible. Right? And then everything that they have built, it will come to a screeching halt. And then they'll have to come to the table like, what's the deal? What's up? What y'all want? Oh, we want y'all to, we want you to decentralize. That's what we want. Decentralize. Yeah, let's break this shit down. We need to break it up. We need to break this up. Yeah, y'all, yeah. Too much central power. We got to decentralize. Yeah. Yeah, because they're not, this is how it works. If 60 to 50 to 60 or 70% of the extortion victims stop extorted, well, they need us. It's called consent of the governed for a reason. So give up your consent. Remove consent. Become self-sufficient. Become like the Amish. Become like any society where they live, minimalistically. And you don't have to fire a shot to do it. You don't. They've done this in Canada to energy companies. Just to give you a small example, they've done that to energy companies in Canada, where I guess they might have been building some. There might have been some data. I don't know what the hell. They were building something and some corporation wanted to use all this energy, but they wanted to pass the energy cost to the Canadians. The Canadians said, fuck you, we're not paying shit. So they got together and they stopped paying their energy bills. What are they going to do? Cut off all the energy for everybody? No, because enough people refused to pay the energy bills. And guess what happened? They had to come to the table. And they said, okay, we're not gonna make you do that. So guess what? That corporation had to pay all their own energy costs. Yeah, just from the Canadians saying we're not paying the bills. They all stopped at one time. Yes. They said, fuck your energy cost. That's just a small example of how that can work. Right? Now, in that case, did they have their own power source? I don't know. But they all work together to say we're not doing this. So where does the government go? They're going to go in there and kill everybody? No, they could just, the power company, they had to say, what the fuck? And the people said, we're not paying these exorbitant energy costs because your private organization that's giving you money so that they don't have to pay energy costs can save money? Fuck that. They don't pay their NATO bill. Why should they? All this is opinion from you. No sources. What source do you want? What are we talking about? All you got to do is do the research. Look it up. Y'all love to come up here and say that stupid shit, but where is your sources? What am I saying that? What are you talking about? Anyway, y'all, I got to get up out of here. Cite the research. For what? What do you want me to cite? Oh, you weren't aware that Donald Trump wanted to take Greenland? You weren't aware that Europe is saying that the United States is becoming the greatest threat? You weren't aware of that? You can go look it up. All you got to do is look it up. So what? Do your own research. This is what I encourage people. Don't just believe what I say. Fact check. Do your own research. Yeah. Everyone saying self-sufficient probably doesn't work hard. Hasn't worked a hard country day in their life. How many of you clock out 8 hours? You're talking about never clocking in. Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? You work for yourself. Yeah. When you're self-sufficient, you're working for yourself. And no one is taxing the time and labor and energy that you're putting into it. You're working for self. So what? That's more fulfilling than going to work 8 hours for what you say is not hard work and being extorted. Yeah, if you got to work 12 hours instead of 8 hours to work for yourself, what's the problem? Yeah, it's called hard work. So what? This place doesn't recognize hard work? I beg to differ. You just don't know the people that are willing to work hard. See, that's why you get with the right people. See, you get with the right people that they get up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they go fishing or they go hunting, then they might go to work. And then when they get home, they cook what they caught. They didn't have to spend any money at the grocery store to go do that. They work. So they're working for themselves and they're going to work. Some of them, they own their land, right? They own their land outright. They can hunt and fish on their own land. They ain't got to go to work. They have those people, they exist in this country. You know that, right? They exist in this country. Just because you don't see them, except for you on a YouTube live. I absolutely am. And you're in my live writing in the chat. Yeah. You can get more food by having a job. Sure you can. Until they cut your ass off. Until they shut down the grocery stores. And then what you gonna do? Yeah. I'd rather work harder and not rely on government than work less hard and get more food by, from a food supply that the government controls and can slow down and raise prices on at any time. Anyway, guys, y'all do what y'all want. Someone asked, how do we make the changes? I told you. Those are some of the solutions. Yeah. I'm not arguing against hard work. As a matter of fact, freedom is more dangerous than peaceful slavery. Freedom is more dangerous than peaceful slavery. Well, perceptively, right? It's more open and upfront. When you have freedom, the dangers are more apparent, I will say. I won't say that peaceful slavery is less dangerous. No, peaceful slavery is more dangerous because it can lull you to sleep and then you're asked out. Whereas with freedom, you know what your dangers are. You know that no one is going to stop the dangers from coming down your way. But you'll be prepared and you'll be ready and willing to fight to maintain that freedom. Doesn't mean it's more dangerous. It's just more apparently dangerous because you know once you're absolutely free, the government won't be there to protect you from the dangers, right? You'll have to defend and protect yourself from the dangers. Anyway, y'all, thank you guys for coming through. Salute to Latricia Montgomery in the building. Yeshua's return. RJ, salute to you. Greenland will be stupid not to become part of the U.S. I don't know why you say that. Salute to Viking Lloyd. Salute to Omar. Thank you guys for all coming through. Thank you for hitting that like button, man. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for giving me over 100. That's some good progress. Salute to Serena, Centauri, Realize in the building. San Francisco, do that. Salute to you. MH, all this opinion from you, no sources. Sure. Thank you, guys. The answer isn't to be Amish, it's to dismantle the system power to keep the capital class in charge. Okay. All right, y'all. Much love. Like, share, subscribe, man. And guess what we gonna do? We gonna keep marching forward toward freedom and truth. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow morning to hit you upside the head with another morning paper. Peace.